Let's talk about Garmin GPSs and battery life. Unfortunately, as most are aware, for the newer models, the battery life is terrible. It won't even last an hour. You'd be lucky to have it last 30 minutes. But was it always this way? No. There were models of the past that, with a replacement battery, mind you, not the original, you can get several hours out of it. So I'm on POI Factory right now, and this is all the models, North America that is, over the years. And I'm going to go through a few of these and show you what were the best of the best for battery life. What can you expect? And then I'll throw in my own 2 cents after that, and, well, you'll just see. This little guy, the Street Pilot i3, which does run on 2 AA batteries, it is claimed to run for up to 6 hours on 2 alkaline AA's. Now, I don't recommend getting this. I have one, but the reason I don't recommend getting it, it's not lifetime maps. It's got a 2 gigabyte cap. You can't fit the entire United States in it. It does not have a touchscreen. You have to use this wheel thing. I have a video on this if you want to see how it works. Difficult to use, but oh man, 6 hours. This is the champion right here. This is the champion. Which is the one that can last the longest on its own power? It's the Street Pilot i2, i3, and i5. But because it's so darned old, and because it's not lifetime maps, and because of no touchscreen, and because of the tiny screen, tiny. And when I say tiny, yeah, 1.7 inch by 1.3 inch display. Really small. It's about the size of a baseball. You don't want that. The 200 series, the original from 2007. This is the this was the top model, the 260, and it also includes the wide models, the 260W. But there was the 200, the 250, and the 260. The original 200 only did pre-recorded voice. The 250 has text-to-speech, and the 260 has text-to-speech. Oh, and also the 270. That was a transatlantic model with transatlantic maps. That was the big sell on that one. But this guy and the wide version could go up to 5 hours. Yes, it could. And if no lifetime maps in this one either. Most of these, by the way, will not have lifetime maps, just to make you aware. But again, with a replacement battery in this thing, it will run 5 hours on its own power. Not at full screen brightness, mind you. At about 60-70%. Still impressive. And again, that's also for the wide models as well. And this is a 4.3 inch. There was never a 5 inch version of this. And then we go slightly ahead to the 265, both the 3.5 inch and the 4.3 inch you see here. This one was up to 4 hours. Yeah, this is, even as early as this model, the battery life just started getting worse and worse and worse. Yep, about the same as the 200 series, but the 265, that's in the 205, 215, 255, 265, and that includes the wide versions and the 3.5 inch versions. You get up to 4 hours out of this guy. Then bump up to the 1390. And you also you're at 4 hours on this one, up to 4 hours. But that's a 4.3 inch version. The 1490, however, yeah, go down to 3. Yeah, when you get up to the 5 inch versions, there's more backlight, so it doesn't last as long. And the 2495, this one is up to 2.5 hours, a big drop. Big drop. So, okay. Now let's go back over here. And now I'll add in what's the realistic figures you can look at for this. Now, the top one that I have, the model that I have with the most battery life, is the pair of 1100s I just got, which was from 2010. this little guy, which is more or less the same as the 1200, except without text-to-speech. I ran some tests, and this little guy, even on its original battery, but then again, the ones I got were in near mint condition and hardly used, 5 hours. I got 5 hours out of that little guy. Yep. And now, when it comes to the later models, because that's the ones most people are interested in, Nuvi 30, 40, 50, and the 2400, 2500 series. We'll start with the 30, 40, 50. It's claimed that these only run for 2.5 to 3 hours. You can get more out of it. You can. By default, these things will come with something like 500 milliamp or 700 milliamp batteries. You can bump up to a 1200 milliamp or at least 1000 milliamp, which will, if you replace the battery in it, and bear in mind, you can get 30 LM, 40 LM, 50 LM, meaning lifetime maps on these. So you put in a micro SD, 32 gig card, and a new battery. Okay, now we're talking. And you can, in theory, get up to 5 to 6 hours out of one of these. And the same can be said for the 2400 and the 2500, as in the 2455, 2495, and the 2555 and the 2595. You can get up to about, not as much as the 30, 40, 50, but these guys did originally come, I believe, with a 900 or an 1100 milliamp. And if you replace it, you can get 4 to 5 out of one of these, which is good. And if we go ahead to the 2497, 2597, don't know about the 7-inch model, but for the 4 and 5-inch versions with a new 1000 to 1200 milliamp battery, this one can do 3.5 to 4. It's only claimed it does 2. But brand new battery, and if you go through a couple of proper charge cycles with these so it doesn't develop a battery memory, you can get up to 4 out of one of these, which is nice. Now, going with newer models here, 55, 56, 57, 58, 65, 66, 67, 68. You'll see the other ones down here. These came with terrible batteries, like 600 milliamp. They were bad. And not bad, they just barely had any charge to them. But again, if you punch one of these up to a replacement, 1000 milliamp or greater, 3 to 4 hours out of one of these or one of these. Okay. Then when you get up to the gloss screens, capacitive touch, these are difficult to get good battery life out of just because those screens take up so much power. This is the main problem when it comes to battery life, trying to get the most out of it, is that when you've got that capacitive touch screen, it uses significantly more power compared to a matte. So even if you put in a 1200 milliamp, well, what can you expect out of, like, say, a Drive Smart 50? 2.5? At the most, maybe, and this is a stretch, maybe 3. And that's if you don't run Wi-Fi, don't run Bluetooth. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. None of that. Just as a bog standard navigator with the brightness not at 100%, we're talking 50, 60, 70% brightness tops, 2.5 to 3 tops if it's a gloss screen on this one. And that can be said for all of them. Whereas with the, where's the Drive 52? Yeah, Drive 52. This one in particular, the software punches up the screen brightness significantly, that's great because you can read it better. This is true. And the stock battery it comes with is awful. Yes. If you switch that out to 1000 milliamp or greater, and you punch that screen brightness down, 2.5 to 3 out of this one, something like that. Actually, I'm being a little generous there. Maybe 2. And again, that's stretching it because, like I said, the newer ones just don't concentrate on battery life whatsoever. But when we go back to the old ones here, again, we'll just concentrate on the this one in particular, the 2400, 2500 series and the 1300 and 1400s. For most people, actually not necessarily these two, because it's got that stutter with the search, but the 2400 and the 2500, the screen is good, and like I said, you can get, if with a replacement battery in this, you can get somewhere up to 4 out of this thing, which is pretty darn good. But if you're the type of person that wants the maximum, absolute maximum battery life, either for use on a motorcycle, or if it's something you put in the glove box of your car, you just want to let it sit in there and know it has, you can leave it in there for a year and know, without turning it on once, and know it's going to have power. This is the reason I bought the little 1100. I bought a pair of those, and again, both of them, 5 hours. I got 5 out of those. That was very impressive at 70% brightness, and also with the volume muted, because every time the speaker comes on, that uses power too. So when I muted it, and I had it 70% brightness, daytime viewing, as in the daytime color scheme, yep, I got a solid 5 out of it for both of them. I timed it. I put it on I was doing my work here on my computer, and I just put it on its stand, I turned it on, I just let it go until it gave me a low battery notice. I said, okay, let's go. Just run, and a simulated route. I said, okay, let's see how far it goes. And it was about 5 hours, so, yep. And let's see, any other tips I can give? Do I recommend getting an 1100? Well, see, I was chasing after like maximum battery life in a 3.5, and I totally got it with the 1100. Now, if I really wanted it, I could just go get a new V200 or a 260. That one with a new battery, that's up to 5 to 6. That can even go further. Realistically, though, probably the best of the lot would be, either a 2495 or a 2595. This guy. Because it's got more or less all the features that you want. It is traffic capable with a GTM 36 or GTM 60 lifetime maps, and you put in a 32 gig card in one of these. Oh, the screen is plenty bright enough. It's great for a map. Yeah, it's a WQ VGA, so yep, totally works fine. And it's got a rubberized case on it, like the 1390 and the 1490, so it can handle the heat, the sun, a little better. If you're chasing after battery life, this is the most usable out of the ones here. But for me, the champion is the 1100. Does it beat the Street Pilot? Nothing will beat the i3. Nothing. For 2 reasons. One, it runs 6 hours. And the second reason is that it runs on 2 AA's. I can just, and then when the batteries run down, pop out the batteries, pop in 2 new ones, and off you go. That's great. Oh, and there's another thing too. This actually does support nickel metal hydride as an NIMH rechargeable AA's. Yes, it does. So you can get the best of all worlds with this one. It's just too bad it's so old and so small and no touch screen. I mean, there's crap you got to deal with this model, but oh, that battery life is so darned good. That's the champion. Yeah. When did it come out? 2005. Yeah, that's how old this thing is. But man, Garmin really knew how to do it back in the day with this. But to end this, 2495 or 2595, if battery life is what you're chasing after, grab one of these guys.